So next thing to go on is timing cover. The timing cover I mentioned, I think, at the end of the last video. I'm not sure how I did these yet, but I cleaned it because I got a little vapour blaster, which is right there, which I'll do a video about separately. So all I've done, I cleaned it up in there. It's not 100%, but then this is the first thing I've actually done in the machine since it arrived a couple of days ago. I've just pressed in the seal there. I've got the gaskets, as you can see. So I'll probably put a little dab of RTV on them. Put them in place. So here they go. It's nice, I've got the little locator studs in there around just to hold them up nice. I've got the bolts here, and the long ones are runs at the top, and the other ones go all the way around it. So put a little bit of blob on there just to hold it in place so it's easier, and then I'll go over to the block and put it on. It's 10 Newton meters for the bolts when they're getting torqued up. Right, so the gaskets are on, a few blobs of RTV to hold them nice and tight, so I'm not going to have any issues with them falling off. I'm going to hold the timing chain up, and now I'm going to line them up. I've got the little location studs, which should make it quite straightforward. That studs in. There we go. Chain still on, chains up. Well, it's gonna self-level until it's happy. So I'll put a couple of the bolts in. Actually, I'll put them all in, but start at the top. So the long one's at the top. Finger tight. Okay. Four ones further down. What I'll do is I'll just get them all in, and then I'll whip them up. Rather than spending 20 minutes spinning them all by finger, I'll whip them up with the little gun, and then I'll torque them all up. So I will just cut this now. You don't need to watch me putting them all in. Just run all the bolts down quickly. Torque meter, torque wrench, 10 Newton meters set. So we'll go around and we'll a bit of giving on them. Still, because I didn't want to run them too tight with the gun. Right, that's all of them done, checked. 10 Newton meters. Right, that's timing cover on. So I think I'll spin it around now and put the sump on. Right, the next step's interesting. So if you're thinking, whoa, what are you doing, dickhead? I followed 50's Kid on YouTube. I've been following his videos. This is what you get if you don't watch ahead. So he made the mistake by not putting the rear main oil seal gasket in when he slid the plate on. I've done the same mistake. So yeah, I'm just using soft strop, just lift it up off the engine mount, and I'm just going to knock off the back plate, get to this rear main oil seal cover plate, slide it off, put the gasket on, put the bolts on, and while I'm doing that, I will probably show you and do the torque settings, which are 10s and 2 are 22. So yeah, a bit annoying. That has to be done, and then it means I can put the sump on. So just a couple of moments, and we'll get back on with it. Right, let's get this right off. So just right, okay. So I just got the gasket. I've just slid it over. It's nice and tight on these two locating studs at the top there. So I've pushed it down nice and hard and tight. I haven't put any RTV in the back of it because it didn't need it. Quite literally, it's on there nice and tight. There is an orientation. One of the holes at the top is more of a, well, you can see here, it's oval as opposed to round. So obviously the way that goes round, just line the gasket up with that oval slot. So yeah, I've given it a nice wipe because it had a little bit of assembly lube stuck on the flat surface. Didn't do any harm. There you go. So I don't have the plastic rear main seal like guide that comes with some of the seals I've seen on some people doing it. You can give it a nice wipe. There's no crap in there. It's clean. So I'm just going to offer it back up over straight. That's not so nice. Line the studs up, press it on. That was rather easy. Okay, and I'll just grab the bolts. So we've got 22 Newton meters on the top two and 10 on the 4 smaller ones around it. Right, and so bolts. Looking at the bolts, just like it said on the 50s Kids videos, he has blue thread lock on the two bigger, on the two top ones, but not on the 4 smaller ones. So give them a wipe over, a dab more thread lock on these two, but I'll probably do a small amount on these as well, just because, why not? So we'll do that now. Right, they're all run down. I've just gone around those ones and I've just checked these at 22 on both. There we go. I've just done the 10s just to show you what I've done. So easy as that. What I'll do is I'll do the reverse with the plate, the engine hoist, pop that back on, put it back on there, clear away the crane or the engine hoist crane, and yeah, then we'll do the sump. Finally, hopefully no more hiccups. Right, finally, the sump gasket's going to go on. So, engine's not the right way again. It's a little bit of the RTV with the split or the gaps where the end rear main seal plate and the timing cover have gone on. Just to see any issues there. Potentials, put a bit on. Not very much. Just a bit of a smear. Just a little bit has come out of the timing cover gap because I put a blob on the gaskets there to hold it in place, so it's alright. We've got a nice new Victorines, you can see that, probably not, gasket which goes square corners there. There's only one 90-degree corner which is up the front there, but that looks, all the holes are lined up, that's always a good thing. Yeah, okay. Lovely. Holes are lined up. Right, so I'll put the bolts all in it. The only thing to note actually, that'd be useful to put on first, so my nice cleaned sump pan. So yeah, even the inside's clean. So pop that over. Go. Oh, drag the gasket slightly, lift it, position it. Okay, so with the bolts, there is only 4 that are not the small ones. There's 4 longer ones, which you'll see. I've got these a little bit of a wipe before I put them in. That's at the rear. There is, well, it's quite obvious to see there is 2 slightly longer and 2 slightly shorter. And it's, yeah, the longer ones at the outside. Anyway, you'll see that if you're doing this. It's nothing I need to go over too much. Right, there's no way you want to actually put like 26 bolts in. So I will turn this off, run it all down, 10 Newton meter torquing. So I'll run around, do all of that, flip it back over and have a look at it. Right, so I've changed my mind again. Just before I put them in, these are the bolts. I just put one in the blast cabinet, just the Vapour blaster, just to give it a quick go. I think we'd much rather have them all cleaned up, so I will do the other 25. It shouldn't take me long, it's just a handful just to blast the tops, but yeah, that's, oh god, focus, that is a lot nicer to look at on this lovely clean engine than 26 black dirty heads. So I'll give them a quick blast up. What a great little machine, and then we'll do it. And there you go. So those bolts came up nice, really easy, and that's them all the way around. I torqued those up as well. That's a new whole level sensor. So yeah, 10 Newton meters all the way around, and that little thing is in there already. You saw in the video, but just torqued it up. So happy with that for the moment. Right, so I've just put the dock sensors back on. They're a 13mm bolt, both the same length, so it's fine. Cleaned them up with the machine just a touch. Yeah, 22 Newton meters torqued. Nothing too exciting. I thought I'd put them on now. The wiring loom may be in a different location. May run differently. So the run may run differently when it goes in the car that I'm going to build. So they're just on there for the sake of it. The oil filter housing, which I've just spent a couple of hours on the machine and just generally tarting up, cleaning out, washing through. Yeah, that comes with a new, or the rebuild kit comes with a new rubber gasket there. So that's just being pushed in. I'll probably put a little bit of RTV just around it, give it some blotches. And then I'll offer it up. This is all being cleaned and double check that there's nothing left in there, which is nice. So yeah, I'll pop that in place. The bolts are up on the side, so yeah, I'll just put bits back on really. Right, so you'll quite easily see there, I've just put the water pump in. It's no big deal. I mean, I don't need to teach this, okay, because it only goes round one way. There's a fresh O-ring if you're doing a rebuild in the rebuild kit that's got underneath. You can see the box down there. I did put the oil filter assembly on, as I said. I've just finger tightened some of the sensors because I'm not 100% sure which way around they go, but they're in there. Torqued up the 22 Newton meters, the 6 bolts on that. You can tell which ones the long ones are supposed to be because of the depth of the mounting. There's 3 different lengths on there. So yeah, that's all I've done. So what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to put on my head gasket, which is this way around. There are locating studs on the top of the block. I mean, that's pretty simple. Yeah, that's okay. It's 3. This is a completely standard. They've had nothing really machined off. So yeah, what I've done is, well, as it stands, mine is just beyond top dead center. I've rolled it round. You've got to hold the chain if you do this, which you'll see when everyone talks about. With a bar, I've just turned it so it's up to top dead center, and then I've just gone past. They're about even depth, cylinder 1 and 2, 3 and 4 are right down. So at the bottom of the stroke, so that gives you as much clearance as you can get, because my head, which you'll see there, I'm still wrapped in cling film from where it was done for me, has been blasted and rebuilt. So obviously the cams are in, so the valves are at depth. So I'm going to take the cling film off that over, and put it on top of the block. Yeah, just having a bit of a concerted effort to put it back together today. So I'll strip that from cling film and then put it on top of the block and come back to you. Right, cling film's off the head. You can see here. We'll see it clear in a minute. There we go. But what I'm going to do, because the chain there and the chain guide, there's movement in them, and I know when I'm lifting the head over that it's going to be a real pain. So I'm going to probably put these together with an elastic band or a little small cable tie, and let the chain just go in to keep it as vertical as I can, which is a bit different to how it sits like that. So I think I'll just do that, and then I'll offer the head up, spin it over, and see if we can just sit it down on top, just with using the 2 locating studs to hold it in the right place. The valves that are open, currently the deepest is 2 and 3. So, and you'll see there's plenty of depth in 2 and 3, so there should be no fouling at all. So let me just get this tidied, and then we'll put the head on. Okay, so just use 3 tiny little cable ties to make a little circle big enough to go around the chain guide. Let it go in there gently. What I need to make sure is when I do reach down through the head to cut that, I'll use my grabber as well so that it can't fall in. Anyway, so that's the head gasket on. Happy with that. It's going to get the head and spin it over. So I'm actually going to come around this way. It's resting on some blocks of wood, so lift it up. On the side so I can turn it. Surprisingly heavy. The surface is all clean, as you see, because it was wrapped in cling film. Right. Here we go. Good grip. Right, chain guide is in the hole. Ah, there we go. That has gone down. Perfect. And chain is still free. I can still get that cable tie out in a minute. Put that there so it can't go down. Right. Well, there we go. There's the most complete. It's been in a while. I've got a box of head bolts here, which I'll open up shortly. Yeah, so that's the head on. So yeah, the head was stripped and rebuilt for me by a company. I can't even remember the name at the moment, but maybe I'll put it in the description, maybe I won't. Okay, so I've just laid out all the head bolts that I'd saved in my head bolts bag because I needed these head bolt washers. Got those, so they're the old head bolts. Those two, I was just checking to see if those two that obviously have come out from around the head bolt area are supplied in the new box, and they're not. So I'm keeping those two. So yeah, they're the new head bolts, they're the old ones. You should offer them up, you can see that they're the same size, just look a lot nicer. So I will distribute these back out around the head. Give these a little, I mean they're pretty oiled up already, but I'll give them a little coating of oil on the brush before they go in, and I'll just line them all up in the engine. I'm just going to show you, do the last one. So this is the last head bolt. So you can see the rest of them are all just dropped down in place, and this one's going to go down in there. You can see, so I've dropped those large washers in all the places they need to be. You can see the end one's a bit easier down there, so the bolts are just dropped in. So all I'm doing is using this brush, a bit of engine oil in there, give it a little bit of oil down the shaft on the thread. I'll drop it into place, then I'll wind them all down, it's basically finger tight with the extension I've got there. And this is a, what is it, an E14. Oh, there we go. So yeah, the extension, I'll just wind that down, and then I'll start the process, which is 40 Newton meters. And you start from the middle and you work your way out. But let me do this, and then I'll come and give you the exact pattern. Right, okay, so I've wound them down to they're just on the washers. And the order, oh, there we go, that way. The order, so you've got the two middle ones. So I'm going to go 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. So basically I'm going to go middle, that way there, that way, there, there, there. So you work your way out staggered from the middle. So yeah, I'm going to work my way around, do that pattern for 40, everyone to 40, then it's 90 all the way around again, and then it's another 90 all the way around again. So nothing too challenging, it's just remembering where, well, I know where I start, so I know if I've done, so those two, then those two, then those two, then those two, then those two, yeah, so that's the pattern. So yeah, I really don't think that you need to watch that, but I've got my torque wrench set to 40 Newton meters, and yeah, that's it, I'm going to crack on with it.